Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we watched 3 more episodes of The Muppet Show that aired between October 12th and October 26th, 1978. And those are the episodes featuring guests James Coco, Liberace, and Loretta Lynn. And before we dive into talking about those, seeing as it's the new year, Sam, we've got a new potential slate of Muppet projects that could be like filling up 2022. I say this only because they put out that new like Muppet Studios logo, so there's like a chance that they're trying to put out some branding, get their names out there, make some new things. And then obviously they made Muppets Haunted Mansion recently, which shows that they're at least interested in making some new stuff. Mm-hmm. So I put the call out on Twitter to see if our followers felt like there were any hopes, wishes, predictions for Muppet things that would be happening in 2022. But I also wanted to ask you if you had any hopes, wishes, or predictions for what you think the Muppets might do in 2022.
I saw David Levy from the podcast Muppeturgy say that he thought there might be more Muppet, like in-park Muppet appearances, like how they did the caroling trolley or whatever on Main Street at Disneyland. Was that Disneyland?
I believe so, yeah.
I feel like that is probably the height of what we can hope for. I think that the parks probably aren't going to add that much new stuff this year anyway because there's COVID and people don't want to go to Disney. And the people who are going to Disney are, I don't know, just complicated right now, I think.
Well, in the Disney parks, if you know anything about Disney parks, they're behind on a lot of projects, and they're also not impressing the public with other big projects. So you've got your Tron roller coasters that are never going to be done, apparently. And then you've got your Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, which everyone is canceling their reservations for. So I think like a Muppet ride is maybe not their number one priority.
They're not really thinking about that right now. Yeah. So I don't think we're going to get a Muppet ride. I think the Muppets would be the easiest thing to add to the park to make people be like, oh, cool. Now there's Muppets all over Hollywood studios for some reason. And that seems like something that would generate some goodwill. I don't think I wouldn't imagine they're doing any other big projects, or else we would have heard about them by now. Except I guess we didn't hear about Muppet Haunted Mansion until summer or something like that of last year, probably.
Yeah, less than a year in advance, at least. They gave us notice, and it caught like everyone off guard that they were going to be doing anything like of that sort of like level, but also that it was going to be a Muppet's Haunted Mansion was nothing anyone could ever really predict.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a possibility that we could see like Muppet Big Thunder Mountain or something like that.
Oh, God.
Like other Muppet ride things. I don't know what else they would do, really. I don't think they're going to have the resources to like do a new concept Muppet thing. It'll be an adaptation, I would say.
Well, in learning this past year via Kirk Thatcher on a podcast that the Muppets belong to Imagineering now, and that Imagineering is in charge of them, I think you're right in that the most we can probably hope for in the short term is something park-related, whether that's bringing back something similar to the Great Moments in History that they were doing, or the Bunsen and Beaker mobile Muppet Labs, or more things like the caroling. Like I think those are an easy way to use them in the parks, and like you said, have people get excited about the fact that Muppets are there. Yeah. So I do feel like more things like that will happen. My hope is that we'll have an announcement about something else, whether that's more Disney Plus original content, or I kind of actually hope that they get back into doing more YouTube stuff. Because there was a huge push back in like 2015 when they really like launched their YouTube channel where they were doing like the Bohemian Rhapsody and all those like things that just took off and went super viral and clearly showed that people wanted fun Muppet content. And doing it in like a short form clearly it was the way to go at that point. And I sort of feel like that's the thing now, where it's like it's a harder sell to get people to watch like a series or a movie. But like you put out a 3-minute YouTube video of them singing Bohemian Rhapsody and everyone watches it.
Do you think there's anything to the tweet that like Kermit who tweeted like, I'm going to make sure that there's Muppet stuff in 2022? That's a hint, or do you think that's just wishful thinking?
The way you read that sounded way more threatening.
Well,
I'm going to make sure there's some more Muppets in this year. Yeah, I do think there's probably something to it. But I also, that could be them appearing on The View. That could be them showing up on some more TV specials like they've been pretty much doing for the past few years.
And that would be fine with me. That's like a good Muppet holding pattern thing. Like they're still around.
Yeah, I don't know. The Muppets, like the era we're watching of the Muppets feels just so completely different from the current era of the Muppets. And I know that's like the point of this whole podcast is seeing how we get from one to the other. But it is curious to look back at just the times where like Frank and Jim are sitting on a couch with these puppets on their hands talking about what they're doing and all this stuff. And the fact that we never see Matt Vogel sitting on a couch with Kermit on his hand. Like we're not allowed to see the puppeteer. We're hiding arm rods. Like all these things that continue to happen where it feels like such a different tone with these characters that is not always bad, but it's just so different that I don't know how we get back to, I guess, capturing that magic that people talk about. Like, oh, what if there was a modern day Muppet show? And it's like, I don't know what that would be. Like, I don't even know that would work with the current like sort of attitude that like Disney, I guess, is taking towards the Muppets.
Maybe Miss Piggy could be the new host of The View. They're looking for a new host.
That's true.
That would be cool.
See, that's why I would love Muppets to be more like integrated into things just as a person, quote unquote. Like I think still not a terrible idea. It'll never happen, but I still think having Kermit play Frog Thor in something would have been just my favorite.
That would have been great.
Yeah, just like cast Kermit the Frog to play Frog Thor. And that's like just having Muppets show up in things where they're not. I think like we've talked about this plenty of times, but so many times now when the Muppets show up, everyone is just the biggest fan of the Muppets and they can't believe they're there. And it's like it's seeing those shows where like Joan Rivers or Milton Berle or George Burns would show up and everyone would just fawn over them and treat them like they were a god. And that's sort of like the treatment that the Muppets get now. Is like they show up to a thing, everyone fawns over them, they sing Rainbow Connection, and they're out. And so it's like, that's fine. But at the same time, we don't see the Muppets get to like perform or like be an act or like just fold in of like, no, I'm just here to be a part of the show. Right. It's just the same thing with like everyone asking them about like Miss Piggy and Kermit's relationship every time they see them. It's like, can we try something new? And I don't know what that is. If I did, I'd be making $1 million from Disney. But,
right. You could have the best idea ever. They wouldn't pay attention to us, and they never have, and they never will.
Maybe they're listening to every single episode, taking notes.
And stealing our ideas.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen any pop up yet, so...
It hasn't been long enough.
Yeah. If suddenly Scooter starts tweeting about crypto, we'll know. But I do think, speaking of David Levy again, he had responded to us on Twitter in this thread saying that he would love the Muppets present the complete history of Walt Disney World or something like that, for like the 50th anniversary. And I think doing another like Muppets at Walt Disney World type special is a good way to sort of do both of what they've been doing lately, whereas like these specials that are tied to Disney, but also in the parks, interacting with the parks, because that special is like one of my favorite Muppet things ever. And I think trying to do something like that again that just feels updated, and they could even like reference the old one of like, oh yeah, we were here 30 years ago or whatever, I think could totally work.
Yeah, I feel like they also need to do something that features Kermit pretty heavily and like immerses us in the new Kermit voice, because I feel like that's still a sticking point with so many people. It is the most like common thing when there's an appearance by Kermit on something. All anyone wants to talk about is, when did Kermit's voice change? And it's like, 5 years ago at this point almost. But it is clearly, like you said, not around enough
so no one's used to it yet.
Yeah, even in Muppets Haunted Mansion, like, he had, like, 10 lines maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that. And, yeah, it's just not enough to, like, get used to it and just be like, oh, that's what Kermit sounds like, I guess. So maybe he's always sounded like that and I just never noticed or something.
But yeah, if anyone out there has more ideas for what they're hoping to see from the Muppets in 2022, I am always optimistic, always hopeful that we'll get something big being announced. But if you have any ideas, let us know on Twitter @CommitmentPod. But for now, Sam, tell us what we watched this week.
It's October 12th in old New York, New York. A fall chill is in the air, so you grab a sweater, snuggle into the couch, and watch James Coco on The Muppet Show. James wants to love the show, but after a couple of hiccups early on and the threat of dud sketches yet to come, James decides to help Kermit give the show a bit of razzle-dazzle. Mostly this just means adding chorus lines to the Swedish Chef and Veterinarian's Hospital before James takes to the stage with his swinging rendition of Randy Newman's Short People. James Coco seems to have had an illustrious, lauded career. Lauded? Is it lauded?
I think lauded.
I wrote this word, don't even know it. Filled with awards, successful Broadway runs, and stuff like that, but I've never heard of him before. Judging by Wikipedia, he was mostly a Broadway guy, which seems pretty obvious based on the concept of this episode. And he showed up as a guest star on like all of the 70 shows that you can think of that had lots of guest stars, like The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. And he also wrote a very successful dieting book in the 80s. And I think that's what he was known for later in his life. Next up, October 19th, you sit in front of the TV, sewing your Luke Skywalker Halloween costume, and watching Liberace on The Muppet Show. Kermit is totally stoked that Liberace is on the show, so much so that the entire last half of the episode has been reserved for Liberace to give a whole bird-themed concert. Before that, though, as he prepares and auditions birds, the Muppets sort of just do their normal thing, singing and dancing, doing Muppet news, stuff like that. And Gonzo is meanwhile trying to pitch his chicken tap dancing act for the concert. Then Liberace plays piano and birds dance around for like 15 minutes and the episode's over. I don't know if I can really do Liberace justice in like a little write-up like this, but he was a huge star from the 50s to basically his death in the late 80s. I think he mostly played like big extravagant shows in Vegas pretty much his whole career, but he also toured all over the place, had TV shows, played piano for the Pope, had the complicated personal life you'd expect of a gay celebrity in the 50s, and was the highest paid entertainer in the world for like a huge chunk of his life. And Bugs Bunny did Liberace impressions, so you know that he was a huge deal if Bugs Bunny is making fun of you.
Liberace is one of those people who was dead before either of us were born.
Yeah.
But I feel like was referenced in everything you watched in the 90s and like early aughts because he was so just everywhere. Like so many people referenced him. Like anything flashy or campy was like Liberace reference. So I feel like Liberace is one of those people that we cannot appreciate how famous he really was during his life because we weren't around then. But he clearly was one of the most famous people. When I was looking him up, he opened his own museum to himself in 1979. And at its peak, the museum attracted 450,000 visitors per year and was the third most visited tourist attraction in Nevada behind the Las Vegas Strip and the Hoover Dam.
Is it still there?
It's there, kind of. I think it's actually called Liberace's Garage now, and it's like a bigger sort of warehousey thing that's like a little less specific. But it's just basically like all of his pianos and cars and everything he owned in one big warehouse that you can go. I think you can still go check it out.
It really is. It's like his big storage unit or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite. I don't know that it's still ranking third in Nevada tourism, but yeah, maybe it's cool. I didn't look up much about it.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that people our age would have seen lots of references to Liberace because the stuff we were watching was written by people who were growing up while he was like a hugest deal ever. And Looney Tunes, I don't even know, when did Looney Tunes happen? Like what years did that come out?
I mean, forever.
Was it like the 30s all the way to like the 60s? Is that when Looney Tunes was?
I mean, Looney Tunes is still happening, Sam.
Well, I know, but the original theatrical run of Looney Tunes.
You're asking the wrong person. I feel like I would ask you this question, if anything.
I thought they all happened in the 40s, and then it's like, oh, Liberace wasn't around yet, so that must have happened in like the 60s. Anyway, finally, October 26th, you're putting your finishing touches on your Luke Skywalker wig, and you're watching Loretta Lynn on a very special episode of The Muppet Show. The Muppet Theater is being fumigated, so instead of just canceling the show, Gonzo has talked Kermit into moving the whole production to a train station. And this doesn't really faze Loretta Lynn because, as she says, country musicians can sing anywhere, but the passing trains and noise and rumbling do really throw off Kermit. So looking for a peaceful place to set up his little desk, Gonzo finds him a train he thinks is out of service, but as he and Kermit settle in, it takes off for Pittsburgh with them trapped on it. So Kermit and Gonzo have to pump their way back to the show on a little hand car, as Scooter and Fozzie do their best to keep things from falling apart, which they do, reasonably well. Loretta Lynn is another person they can't really do justice to here. She was a big country music singer in the 60s and then broke out to mainstream success in the 70s. I think mostly because of the song Coal Miner's Daughter, which was also the title of her biopic starring Sissy Spacek in 1980. And she's 89 now and still performing. And she put out her 50th album in 2021. Very prolific.
She's been working a lot in recent years with Jack White. He's been producing her albums for her the last few years, and so she's still out there, still putting out country albums. I remember her as a kid. My mom was way into Loretta Lynn, and way into the movie Coal Miner's Daughter, especially. It's
kind of crazy that she had a biopic about herself 15 years into her career or something like that.
Yeah, no, it does not feel like something that would happen today.
October 7, 1978 was fine, I guess. It was just like every other year of the 70s, it seems like. President Carter legalized home beer brewing, which is cool. The movie Halloween came out on October 25th, which ushered in a very 80s cultural phenomenon, the slasher movie. And Animal House was #1 in movie theaters, which I thought was a much older movie than 1978, I guess. The music released was an interesting mix of yacht rock, new wave, and hair metal. And TV's got stuff like Columbo, Laverne and Shirley, Love Boat. Any 70s show you could name is on right now, and at a billion in game shows. We're still in game show territory very staunchly.
It feels like, though, with your music references there, that we're getting close to those 80s. They're creeping up.
I think something I've noticed looking up stuff like this is that music is always 5+ years ahead of the rest of culture, I feel like. Music's always cooler than what's on TV. And movies are always a little bit cooler, actually, than what's on TV, too. TV is, the least cool of all of them and the most, stuck in the past. But, yeah, music right now is, already 80s music, basically, I think. Prince is around and stuff like that.
All right. Well, October 12th, 1978 was the James Coco episode. James Coco is a great antagonist for this show.
I wrote down that he could have been J.P. Gross, and that would have been great.
Yeah, he's a weird, stuck in the middle kind of J.P. Gross meets Dom DeLuise kind of guy. I feel like he really wants to be Dom DeLuise, but he's a little bit more J.P. Gross than Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, because he's pushing his will onto the Muppets instead of collaborating with them. He's just this needs sex appeal, which is exactly what J.P. Gross would do when he used to show up. Does he ever show up again?
I think we might see him a couple more times, but I don't think he's ever as I don't think he's as big of a part of an episode as he has been in the past.
I think it would have been way more fun for Scooter to have a human uncle, and he'd be like, Scooty, and rubbing his little head and being like, all right, get some ladies with some big jugs out there. Come on, guys. But do you know who he is otherwise? Have you ever seen him before?
Really, the only thing I recognize him from is from a Muppet thing that you haven't seen, so it would make sense that you don't recognize him. And he's in Muppets Take Manhattan.
Is he the bad guy in it?
No, he just has a small part where he plays a rich guy who drops his dog off at the pound to be boarded or whatever with that. And Rolf works there and is helping him out with boarding his dog.
That sounds very cute.
Yeah, no, it's very good. He's very good in that, and I can kind of forgot that he was in that until I started doing my whole Tick Tick Boom edit.
Yeah.
And then now I know every frame of that movie like the back of my hand.
It's so weird that they got so many Broadway people on. Was Broadway just a bigger deal back then? Do you know?
I think Broadway is still a big deal, but not to you.
Okay.
I think Broadway was a huge deal, is a big deal, but definitely back then, like, there's a reason that so many people who are on the Muppet Show are from Broadway and stuff, is because I feel like maybe in, like, public culture, they were a little bit more, like, they were doing more talk shows and stuff, as opposed to, like, nowadays, it's like a surprise if someone breaks out of the Broadway world to be in, like, normal pop culture. Like, Lin-Manuel Miranda is, like, an extraordinary thing where it's like, oh, you want a guy who wrote a Broadway show on, like, Colbert Show? Like, that's weird.
Yeah. Or like the lady from Frozen. She had, like, a huge Broadway career before she was Frozen, right?
Adina Menzel.
Adele Dazeem is the only I can remember her fake name. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, John Travolta, for warping all of our minds into not remembering Adina. Now I'm messing it up. God damn it.
Adina Menzel, is that her name?
Yes.
Okay, I can't remember anybody's name, but I can remember one name, and it's Adele Dazeem.
Yeah, the wickedly talented. But yes, I do think there is something to that of, like, the Broadway stars used to be more like ubiquitous in, like, what they would appear on versus today. But at the beginning of this episode, there is the all too famous stereotype warning at the very beginning of the episode. And I think it's because we hear the slur against the Roma people again in this episode that we heard in the Peter Sellers episode. It does not, who am I to say?
Doesn't factor into the play or to the thing as much as it did with the other one.
Yes, that's what I was going to try to say, is that James Coco is not playing up a stereotype really in this. He's not doing an accent or anything to, like, lean into that. It's during a sketch where he's playing a psychic, and Fozzie just, drops the word in the middle. So it's there. I think that's why it's there, the stereotype warning, but it could also be for the Spanish dancers that are here.
I suppose so.
Yeah, it's not extremely clear, which I guess is good, that there's not something so horrific in this episode that I'm like, oh my God, clearly that's what we got the warning for. And we open this episode with a Beatles song, which... Yeah,
which made me think, get the freaking Beatles on the Muppet Show. That would have been cool, right?
Well, they really wanted to, and they just...
They did?
Yeah, I believe that was always on the list of things that they wanted to do, and just couldn't swing it.
It seems like Ringo would have been on the Muppet Show. He would do anything.
I think it was one of those, like, all or nothing kind of deals where I think they wanted all of them together to reunite.
That would have been a great ending of the 70s.
That'd be a great ending to Get Back. It's just the phone rings and, like, who is it? I don't know, some guy called Jim Henson. The rest was history.
Yeah.
But no, this is one of those where whenever we run into issues of the Muppets not having things included because of music rights, I'm like, wait, but you can afford the Beatles? And so, we have an Octopus's Garden number. This is not the first time we've seen the Muppets doing Octopus's Garden. And they sing this in the first season of Sesame Street, and on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1970, they performed this as well. I believe that's one of the clips we couldn't find, was the Ed Sullivan one.
What? This was weird. I thought this was really weird.
Why?
Maybe just because I didn't like it.
Oh, okay. That kind of weird. Bad weird.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird. I get it. That, like, it's supposed to be like an underwater thing. We have Kermit and Robin swimming around underwater with, like, some pretty impressive puppetry, especially on the Kermit side of things. Like, it's pretty clear, like, clearly, like, 4 people working his arms and legs around.
He's flailing all over the place, yeah.
But, Kermit's verse is like a weird William Shatner talk singing type of thing that I think it does disrupt the flow a little bit that Robin started.
Yeah, and I think, like, there's creatures playing instruments around them, sea creatures, but the sounds are not the sounds of the instruments that they're playing, and also there's, like, computery, like, you know what I'm talking about, through the whole thing, and it's kind of like, what? This seems like they could have used another pass, figure out what the hell they were doing here.
I think this is something that comes up in a lot of Muppet Show sketches, but also just sort of that, like, late 70s vibe of sketches is things are just noisier. And, like, they just, like, layer a lot of sounds on top of each other, but don't have any way to mix them properly. And so it's just like, all right, underwater noise, drum noises, what's an octopus noise, frog noise, like, and
what
they
is
just, like,
an octopus noise?
I don't know, but Yeah, it just sounds weird and noisy and not as fun as you feel like this number should sound.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, Animal shows up and is chased by a giant stingray at some point.
I did like the giant stingray because it reminded me of the creature from that underwater level of Mario 64. You know, the big eel?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
He had the same kind of like, ooh, that's kind of scary. That's kind of cute, but it's also kind of really scary.
I would have thought Animal might fight it, though.
He bit it at the end.
Yeah, but
Remember?
I feel like he immediately runs away scared at the beginning. And I feel like Animal he doesn't flee, he fights.
I feel like a real animal, at first, they're like, oh, what's that? And then once they figure it out, then they're like, I know how to kill this now.
He had to
So
get
he
his
was
bearings.
just kind of like, he was trying to like figure it out, yeah.
All right.
See what its moves were.
I'll accept that. But to clean up after this performance, Kermit has a brilliant idea, which he kind of has a similar idea in another episode we watched this week.
Yeah, they do the exact same joke twice.
Which is fine if it's a recurring gag, I get it. But he sends out the dancing sponges to do their act, because obviously the dancing sponges will clean up the water from the previous one. I kind of wish we could have seen the dancing sponges and like what they were doing, but I also understand it's one of those things that works better off screen because they didn't really have an idea of what they were doing. The end of the idea was they clean up the previous act. End of
I think
joke.
a sponge-based puppet that actually soaks up water could have some fun applications, though.
I feel like also most of the puppets could soak up water pretty well.
That's true. Yeah, they're all sponges.
Yeah.
They're just glorified sponges, really, when you get right down to it.
Especially ones that don't have like fleece and stuff on them. Like Sam the Eagle is just a sponge.
Yeah, you could scrub a plate really good with the top of his head.
Then we get into the psychic sketch that we mentioned earlier. I don't know. It's a weird one. Again, this is just maybe a weird episode overall. This sketch goes like 3 different directions that you don't expect, and they don't really make a whole lot of sense, which is fine. But at one point, James Coco goes to look at his crystal ball, and Beauregard's head is just in there.
Yeah, which is not supposed to be because they're all mad at him for being in there.
Yeah, like he's ruining the sketch. Then a real ghost shows up in the middle of this seance and doesn't know that he's on a show. He's trying to get to a different seance somewhere in the South.
Yeah, he's a hillbilly ghost, which makes it that's like an extra layer of confusion. Like if he had just been like a proper like British ghost or something, it wouldn't have been as much like, what are they going for here? But instead it's like, why is it a hillbilly ghost?
And then they decide to all sing Danny Boy.
It seems like the point of this is to show, I don't know, because later on Kermit's like, sorry, the show's so bad this week. Is this supposed to be bad on purpose, or what happened?
I don't know, because like the Octopus's Garden sketch doesn't feel like it's supposed to be bad on purpose, and I don't think it's bad. It's just a little
I don't think
off.
it's bad either. Yeah.
But this one clearly is like breaking down in ways where they acknowledge that within the sketch, that the sketch is not working.
One thing I did really like was Fozzie. I think Fozzie being like the comedy foil in these kind of skits is really fun, and not something that he gets to do too often, but like a good use for him if he's not going to be able to do his like stand-up routine every week.
Yeah, when we've seen him sort of be the partner to like a classic comedian, I feel like it's one of the times when Fozzie gets to shine the best, when it seems like they're old friends, that they used to like do the clubs together or something like that. It always makes Fozzie seem a little bit more competent than he seems on the weeks when people are not there, that he can pal around with when he's setting the theater on fire. But then we have to class up the joint a little bit, and so it's time for some culture. Thanks to Rolf, who's going to hold this show together. He promises Sam the Eagle that he's going to bring some culture and class to this show by performing some Beethoven. And this is when, another time, Sam the Eagle is revealed to be a fraud and a phony because he says that Beethoven is his favorite playwright. And yeah, this is we've seen something like this before, where Ralph is performing with Beethoven's bust on his piano, and Beethoven's bust is a puppet. This one's a little bit more fun, I think, than the last time we saw it. Last time it was just like Beethoven falling asleep and slouching.
This needs to go before you see that second one, because you need to get a little bit of familiarity with this Beethoven bust before you see it sleeping, because it doesn't really make sense.
Well, because in this one it works really well for the beginning because Rolf is carrying it out, so it looks like just a real bust. And then for the majority of the beginning of the song, it's not moving, it's not doing anything. And so it still just looks like a real bust sitting on the piano before it starts singing along. And so, I just feel like this one worked really, really well. And maybe in production order, I didn't look this up, maybe this one came before the last one. Like they made this one first and it just aired differently. But yeah, no, I It's not something I want to see a dozen more of, but I wouldn't mind a few more.
And I like to see Rolf as like a scholar of music. He had such a rich personal life in between Jimmy Dean Show and now. He like went to college or something. He was so stupid on Jimmy Dean Show.
He was.
And now he's like the smartest Muppet.
Then we have another, I'm going to say it, weird segment of the show.
Yeah.
We have the UK spot, which is, traditionally kind of weirder than the other things on the show. But in this one, we see Uncle Kermit tucking his nephew Robin into bed. And Robin...
Is this real or on the show? What do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, is the Robin Kermit exchange part of the show?
Mm-hmm.
I say yes because, like, other things are happening after this. But maybe it's just that, like, Robin is so young that he needs to go to bed backstage. He has, like, a room
and
back
they have
there.
a little room for him?
Yeah. And so Kermit's like, I need to go tuck in Robin before we continue with the rest of the show.
Oh, boy.
But what this leads
Seems
to...
really inconvenient.
I mean, yeah, and it seems like, bad uncling on the side of Kermit. But Robin can't sleep because he's afraid of snakes under his bed, which leads to just some snakes on a blue screen in front of a black backdrop, just dancing around. That's it.
Dancing is almost just too strong of a word.
Wiggling.
They're just kind of going, right.
Yeah, nothing really happens here.
No.
There's no joke. There's no nothing. There's just snakes wiggling around. And it's like, if we hadn't seen this sort of like blue screen puppetry before, maybe it would be impressive. But like the very first episode with Juliet Prowse has this kind of thing in it. So like they've been doing this kind of thing for like 3 seasons now. This kind of puppetry isn't new.
I think they did this kind of thing like 20 years ago also.
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, because if you look back to the limbo thing with the giant face over the black backdrop, like that's sort of the same kind of technology, is this like hidden puppetry against a black backdrop. So I'm not really sure what they're going for on this one.
The beginning of this episode is so weird. It's so disjointed that I was like very ready to write it off as almost like a season 1 level, like there is no rhyme or reason to any of this, and the guest star doesn't feel integrated into it well at all. Then it all really turns around from here on out, though.
It continues to be weird, though. It does not stop being weird. One thing I wanted to note about this episode is this is the first time that we're watching an episode where Steve Whitmire is credited as working on this episode. We don't hear him in this episode. That comes up in the next episode. And I don't know who he helped perform in this episode. I'm guessing maybe just some background characters. Yeah. But this is obviously a big turning point for the Muppets to have a new cast member join the fray who will be there for however 40 years. And so it's we'll start to hear that recognizable Rizzo voice in the next episode. But for now, the switch flips and James Coco takes over control of the show.
Yeah, he's like, this show sucks, obviously. It's been very bad so far.
And so, we get one of the most bizarre Swedish Chef sketches we've ever seen. Not really sure what's even really happening. He wants to make a banana split, so he takes an axe to cut a banana in half. But then the Spanish dancers come in. He hits himself in the head with a pot, and it just kind of devolves into chaos very, very quickly.
This was not a very strong Swedish Chef, I thought, though.
No, it was. Even before the dancers and the distractions come in, we've talked about this sort of thing before, where they mixed up the At the Dance and the Veterinarian's Hospital, and how that worked really well because you sort of know what to expect from each of those sketches. So when they're mashed up together, it's like a delightful little dessert of like, I see what you're doing here. This is nice. And this didn't feel like that. Like, I think partially because we don't know what to expect from James Coco's ideas. And so he's disrupting these things with something unfamiliar. And the Swedish Chef sketch wasn't even that strong before we got the distraction.
Right.
And so it feels muddied and weird. But then we have the return of Wayne without Wanda.
Yeah, I like Wayne.
I don't mind Wayne. And this is like my favorite Wayne and Wanda type thing we've ever seen, I think.
Yeah. This is a good one.
He's singing Catch a Falling Star and Put It in Your Pocket. And as he's doing this, a star falls from the sky and lands in his pocket and catches his pants on fire.
This is, I guess, could have been, now I'm looking at this picture on Muppet Wiki. He is dressed exactly the same as Link is dressed when he is not dressed as the captain of the swine trek. This could have been maybe Link instead to further cement him as the replacement Wayne. It does feel a little weird to have him without Wanda. It's like, where did she go? They break up. They get divorced. I think they're still brother and sister, baby. So
I mean, they are named Wayne and Wanda, so I feel like that could be legitimate.
But I like the element. I like when the show like revels in its vaudeville kind of thing, and I feel like Wayne does that. And they must have felt the same way because they keep bringing him back. But
yeah, and he feels like one of those guys who was famous 15 years before this and is now sort of, he feels like it's beneath him. Yeah. To be on the Muppet Show. And so when they do things like start his pants on fire, he's actually insulted, as opposed to like Gonzo or other people who work on the Muppet Show every week are like, oh yeah, this is just part of the gig.
Gonzo derives sexual pleasure from his pants being on fire.
Yeah. And you're like, your pants are on fire? Lucky. We then get a veterinarian's hospital, another similar one to the Swedish Chef, where it's just not that great because James Coco sends in some dancers to distract them.
I didn't notice till I was doing the write-up that he does the dancer thing twice. They should have figured out something else. Veterinarian's hospital should have been a musical or something like that. They needed a different angle on it.
And then we get the finale, which it's the song by Randy Newman called Short People.
Yeah.
The concept of which is that short people got no reason to live.
Yeah, because they're nasty little sneaks.
Yeah. This song, Randy Newman does not like it anymore.
No.
I looked up.
He felt bad about it, I think is what I read.
Yeah, he basically wrote this song to be like a parody of strong stances that people would have. He thought this was completely out there, absurd that anyone would ever believe that short people had no reason to live, so he made a song like that. But then the song ended up becoming a hit and hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. And he began to hate it, and he called it a bad break, a novelty record like the Chipmunks, and said it caused him to receive several threats regarding its misinterpreted message. He said, I had no idea that there was any sensitivity. I mean, that anyone could believe that anyone was as crazy as that character to have that kind of animus against short people, and then to sing it and put it all in song and have a philosophy on it. That being said, Randy Newman did include this on every one of his greatest hits albums that he has released.
Well, it hit number 2 on the Hot 100. What are you going to do?
One weird thing about this, again, weird is just the word of this episode, apparently. Manamana, Droop, and Speedy Sanchez are all in there as musicians for this number. Yeah, his
band is very weird. And then I realized at the end that they're just supposed to be like little creatures.
I think they just chose like short characters.
Because like Floyd is too tall, Animal's too tall. They can't be playing Janice. They're all very long.
Yeah, Dr. Teeth is an adult man. But there are apparently shorter people hanging around because we see that at the very end, too, that Kermit references the small people walking around, and we see little flags to represent that.
Yeah, he says the short people loved it, and these little flags come up and go, yay, yay.
Yeah.
Then they carry Kermit away to eat him or something.
Yeah, they, Gulliver's Travels him or something.
Yeah.
And we can't move on without saying that Thog showed up at the very end of that sketch.
Yeah, boo.
Because he's tall.
Sweetums is tall, too. I guess Thog is truly gigantic, though.
He is a monster.
So that's fine. Do you think there's people who watch the Muppet Show and they see Thog pop up and they're like, yeah, Thog, because they tried to make him famous like 10 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think people love Thog.
That sucks. That sucks for me. I hate that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sam.
Hey, I forgot. We star rated all the episodes this time at my request.
Yeah, I got a text from Sam last night being like, hey, can you star rate the episodes? And I said, I guess, sure.
I meant to ask you what it was before we started the episode so we could argue about the star rating as we went through.
Well, we'll do that for the next 2. But what'd you rate this one?
2.5. What'd you rate this one?
3.
Out of 5. 3?
I didn't do halves.
Well, I started at a 3 and then I erased half of one of my stars because when I thought about how James Coco just did the Dancing Girls twice, I was like, come on, James.
That's fair. Yeah, I just... for reference for my scale, I did not think in halves. So all of my things are a solid star. So yeah, there's definitely wiggle room to eke that down a little bit if we're going for halves. But,
I took the coward's way, though, and I did halves.
You might as well just be doing a 10-point system, a 10-star system at that point. I think when I think about the star ratings and when I try to think of like overall feelings about an episode, it's sort of like laughs per minute kind of feeling like when I'm watching it, how many times every few minutes am I like actually going like, ha, that was good. And I think there's a few really solid moments in this episode that held it up for me. And then I think the beginning of the veterinarian's hospital sketch sort of lifts the end of the show a little bit more than the other chaos happening around it. So yeah, I gave it 3. I also, when I was thinking about the star ratings for these 3 episodes, I was sort of like holding them against each other and didn't want to give any of them the same rating. That's just the way my brain told me to do it. Yeah.
Rachel always comments on how I never laugh at anything. I laugh when I'm talking to people a lot, but when I'm watching shows, I'm just like in stony silence. So then when I do laugh at stuff, she's like, whoa, you laughed at that. You must have really liked that. And I'm always like, no. It just was briefly funny for a second.
Rarely am I like cracking up at things, and when I do laugh, it usually is just like, ha! Yeah. And that's like my strongest laugh reaction, where I think something's like truly very funny. We'll get just like one ha! So much so that like I've been called out on it in text message form because people see one ha as like dismissive.
Derisive.
Yeah. And so people would like say something funny to me in a text message and I'd be like, ha! And they'd be like, well, okay, cool, whatever.
You got to do 3 ha's or else people aren't going to know you're talking.
It's too many ha's, Sam. I can't do 3. I'll do 2. That's it.
All right.
Nothing is worth 3 ha's.
2 is acceptable.
But speaking of that star rating, what'd you rate this next up Liberace episode?
2.5.
The same. Okay.
I don't care about rating them the same. They were the same to me. What did you rate it?
I gave it 2 stars.
Oh, okay. That doesn't surprise me, really.
Yeah, because half this episode is not a Muppet Show. Liberace might be the worst actor we've seen on the Muppet Show so far.
I was thinking about this. I think Elton John's a little worse than him.
I don't know. I guess men who play piano just can't act. One or the other.
Their brains are too occupied, yeah.
But he's quite bad. Yeah, you can feel every single moment of acting dripping off of him.
It's surprising that he's so bad because he's good when he's doing his concert. I guess that's just the persona he's used to. He's kind of a solo guy, so.
Yeah, it's always the little lines they give him to like wrap up a scene or talk directly to camera and deliver a joke. And I'm like, no, he is not a born comedian.
No.
Beginning of this episode, we get to see the Muppet Show canteen, the little cafeteria area where the Swedish chef and Gladys are working together.
A concept that still bothers me. I don't think that it doesn't seem like the health department would be into it. It doesn't seem like there'd be anywhere for the smoke to go from the oven. I just don't trust them to run a restaurant, really.
I'm trying to think about this now. It feels to me sort of similar to, because like obviously places have craft services or small kitchenette areas, but this is a bit more advanced. So this feels to me like when you go to like a museum and they have like a cafeteria there, and you're like, this is kind of weird that I'm like walking around the Art Institute in Chicago and then suddenly I stop and there's like a full restaurant.
Yeah, and the sandwich is $17 for some reason.
Yeah. So yeah, this feels a little bit like that to me, I guess.
That's true.
I do like seeing a little bit more behind the scenes of what's happening here at the Muppet Show.
It's nice for them to have a place to hang out.
Yeah, it's nice to see what people are doing when they're not on stage or hanging out in that small backstage area, and sort of getting some of the geography of the theater and seeing like when Kermit walks out of the canteen into the backstage of like, oh, so that's what's over to the left of the backstage area is the canteen.
Is this our first Camilla shout out as well?
I do believe this is the first mention of the name Camilla, at least as far as I can remember. Because Gonzo wants his chickens to audition for Liberace, and he mentioned specifically Camilla. And while Gonzo is excited about this potential bird tribute concert, Ralph seems a little upset.
He's so sad.
Because, they have dedicated half the show to letting Liberace play piano. And Ralph immediately takes that as a slight and walks off sad with his own candelabra.
His little candelabra.
Hey, wait, have you seen that movie, The Candelabra?
Behind the Candelabra?
Yeah, the Liberace movie?
No, have you?
No. I feel like we would, have a lot more context to talk about Liberace this episode if either of us had seen that movie.
Well, it's supposed to be really good. Maybe
that's what I've heard.
I'll have a Liberace book report next episode.
You heard it here first, guys. Next episode, unless he edits this out of the episode, Sam's going to give us a book report on Liberace.
Okay.
We then have a musical number, a Greek musical number, where Piggy is singing Never on Sunday, which is a very famous song that apparently comes from a movie also called Never on Sunday.
Is it about how you'll have sex every day of the week but not Sunday? Is that basically what she's singing?
Oh, I don't know. Is that what that's about? I was not paying that close of attention.
I think so. She's like, I'll smooch you any day of the week but Sunday is her day of rest. Greece also looks just like Mexico but with more vines on it. Is it the same set?
I mean, that seems likely. But we get a misunderstanding in the middle of this, that they are talking about bouzouki music. And Animal is like, oh, you said bazooka? Okay, I'm going to blow everything up.
Yeah.
This feels like a Crazy Harry moment.
I think so too, but it is kind of fun. I think this is the second time we've seen Animal with a bazooka.
Yeah, in the Bob Hope episode.
He just owns a bazooka.
Yeah, in the Bob Hope episode is when he came out at the end just blowing everybody up with the bazooka when he was trying to get a hobby.
Yeah. They got to take that thing away from him. I bet he hides it really well when he's not using it, though, because he knows Floyd is always looking out for this bazooka.
Floyd's like, Animal, where'd you put your bazooka? Bazooka? Like, I know you have it. You just had it. You were on stage. You can't act like you didn't have a bazooka, Animal. But yes, this leads to the repeated joke from the past, from the previous episode, where Kermit needs to clean up after the previous act, and apparently he maybe foresaw Animal going a little wild in this.
I think at the very least the plates being smashed on the ground, right? He knew that was part of it.
Yeah, you're right. That's where the broken glass came from, not from the bazooka attack.
Because you see some cursed Muppet feet in this episode. You see some little bare piggy toes.
Yeah, and so the stage is covered in broken glass. Kermit needs to clean it up, so he sends out the mop dancers this time. Which, I don't feel like a mop is the best thing to clean up broken glass. But,
yeah. Maybe the little shards, you know?
Yeah. I just feel like those, when you have, like, sentient mops, I feel like they're going to come back with a lot of wounds trying to clean up that broken glass.
Yes, do you think they have blood and stuff? Oh, no.
Just bloody Muppets coming back.
I think their eyes probably have blood in them, but I don't think the rest of them has blood in them.
Oh, God. I don't want to think about Muppet circulatory systems, especially when it comes to mops.
Yeah, where they keep their brains, huh?
Then we have more discussion of the auditioning birds for Liberace, and we get to meet Fletcher Bird for the first time.
Have we seen this guy before?
We have not. Fletcher Bird's, this is kind of Fletcher Bird's debut. They actually show up for the first time in the Leo Sayer episode as far as production order goes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he this is his debut as far as we have seen.
Okay.
And this is also the only time he will ever speak.
Ah.
Next we get to hear Steve Whitmire, very recognizable Steve Whitmire character. Here, the security guard who is blocking Gonzo from getting into Liberace's dressing room. Sounds a lot like Rizzo.
I was very excited. Rizzo doesn't show up for a while, though, right?
No, I don't think until season 4 or 5.
Like the last season or something.
And even then, he is not the Rizzo, like, very prominent Rizzo that we come to know later on in Muppets.
He's not... Does he wear his little jacket?
Yes? I'm going to say yes. I think he wears his varsity jacket on the Muppet Show.
Okay.
During this little segment, we get to see the Beethoven bust just kind of chilling there. And it made me think about the terrible life that the Beethoven bust must lead because he has to be carried around by Rolf and maybe can't do anything on his own.
Do you think he really is Beethoven? Like, does the spirit of Beethoven inhabit that bust? And if so, does it inhabit every bust of Beethoven? Or just this one? Because I do feel like it is actually him.
So it's the real Beethoven that inhabited this bust that Rolf owns and carries around. Or maybe doesn't own. He's sentient,
I think it belongs
so maybe
to theater
they're just
something.
pals.
Yeah.
But
he bought it on eBay. He bought Haunted Bust, and then it turned out it was
Haunted
real.
Beethoven bust.
Yeah.
One of a kind. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think he's inhabiting every bust, or is it just this one?
I think he can jump into any bust or representation of himself. I think that's how it works.
So this one in this sketch may just be a bust sitting there lifeless.
Yeah.
Because he's off inhabiting a different bust right now.
Yeah. He can only be in one place at a time, but he can be in any graven image of himself that there is. That's my thought.
I'll accept that.
But yeah, this is like the first meeting, the first time that two people who will continue to have conversations, like comedy conversations for the next 40 years happens, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and this is the first time we're hearing Steve Whitmire's voice. He also is the voice of the Fletcher Bird earlier in this, but Fletcher Bird gets like half a line and doesn't necessarily sound very like identifiable as Steve Whitmire. But
Right.
you're right in that we will get this combo of Dave Goelz and Steve Whitmire for years. And even in the next episode, the Loretta Lynn episode, that's technically the first time Steve Whitmire had a speaking role in production order, was in that episode. But he's not hanging out with Dave Goelz in that one. He's hanging out with Frank Oz. But it is a nice, familiar combo, even when you hear like the turkey and Gonzo in Muppet Family Christmas.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Where the turkey is literally just Rizzo's voice. It's a nice homey feeling.
Rizzo's even in Muppet Family Christmas, so it's funny that they have the same exact voice.
Yeah, it is very odd, and not in the way that like when you have Ernie and Kermit in a scene, you're like, that's the same voice, Jim Henson.
Yeah.
But more so,
Ernie's a little bit more stoned than Kermit. Ernie's a little bit more like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, whereas I feel like the turkey and Rizzo grew up on the same block. Like, they had the same accent. And then we get maybe the oddest moment of any of these episodes we watched. For some reason, Liberace gets a little moment where he just says to the camera that he's down to his 10 final birds in his auditions.
Yeah,
Nothing
it
happens
seems like
before
it's happening right before a commercial break or something.
Right, which they've done little like gags of like fade to black gags with like Sweetums and other celebrities and stuff like on a set doing short little things. But this isn't a joke. Nothing happens before it or after it that sets up a punchline or anything. It's just Liberace saying like, hey, in case you were curious, I've got it down to the 10 finalists. I know you're on pins and needles wondering what birds I'm going to pick from my show. Don't worry, I'm on it.
I think he's just saying, don't turn off the Muppet Show. I'm almost on. The biggest star in the world.
I guess maybe that's true. It's like, yeah, remember that concert we mentioned? I am still going to do that. Don't worry. Especially because we haven't seen him like since the beginning of this episode.
No, and that's what maybe we'll talk about it more when the episode's over. But that we'll talk about it after the concert. We'll go ahead.
And then the show gets turned over to Liberace to perform a little concert. He starts off playing chopsticks because, that's funny.
It's very droll. It's like NPR funny.
But we get a full 3 minutes without a single Muppet on screen. And even then, Statler and Waldorf pop in for a minute, and then they disappear again for a while.
Yeah, I did like that. I liked that little segment. I like when they talk to the guest.
Oh, yeah. I like Statler and Waldorf popping in. I did not enjoy the 3 minutes of just nothing happening but piano playing.
Is that even before the seagulls pop up?
Yeah. He's just playing in a blue void with
Right.
no Muppets, not even seagulls. Nothing funny is happening besides the chopsticks thing.
Yeah.
Like he's literally just playing piano for 3 minutes without any Muppets.
Yeah.
But then the birds actually do start to show up. It starts off, sort of subtle with some seagulls flapping around. But then we get some creepy bird dancers.
They are real creepy.
They have very realistic bird heads on human ballet dancers. They're all dancers from London's Royal Ballet, who we will see a couple more times in the future playing these creepy birds.
No,
Yep,
why?
these creepy birds come back. I don't know what to say about this half of the show, Sam.
I don't know either. I feel like maybe back then when you didn't have YouTube, you'd be like, whoa, the British Royal Dancers. That's exciting. I get to see this in my lifetime. I'll go get Ma and Pa. They're going to love this. But for me, not for me. I don't get it.
I think that's maybe just Liberace in general is not for me. I don't get it. It was a different era of like entertainment, and I think not growing up in that era just makes me go like, how was this man so famous?
Yeah. People liked piano more back then.
It was a novelty. It had just been invented.
Maybe it's like Elton John cracked it open by doing this, but also singing really catchy songs. Like he came along.
Liberace
and
was along for so much longer before Elton John.
I know, but then Elton John saw that.
Oh.
And then was like, this is great. Everybody loves it. I have an idea. I'll make it actually more, make it fun. I'll do something fun and sing some good songs. And so then we can't look at Liberace and be like, this is so exciting. When people in the 50s were like, before this, all we had was doo-wop. I don't know. What was going on in the 50s? I don't think doo-wop was even around yet.
I mean, Liberace was already around in the 50s, so
yeah,
we got to reach back even further than that. But
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I don't. I'm very curious about the. Again, we really should have watched that movie, I guess.
Yeah.
To learn more about Liberace and why he was so famous. But it is just not for me in general.
I don't even know what they're trying to pantomime. What are they trying to pantomime? The bird dancers.
I don't know.
They're just dancing, I guess. It looked like they're doing something, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was.
Yeah, it was sort of like the clowns in the Send in the Clowns number, where I'm like, I feel like they're trying to do something related to the song, but I don't really get it.
Yeah.
But then we get the return of Fletcher Bird and some other bigger, more cartoonish birds showing up to help Liberace end the number. He does end up handing the piano over to Rolf so that he can get up and enjoy the birds.
Was nice.
Yeah, it's nice to see that Rolf was not cast aside for Liberace like he thought he was going to be.
I did like that Sam popped up and was like, this is great. I'm a bird and I'm classy. This is my kind of shit.
Yeah, thank you. This is specifically for me.
Yeah.
And then Liberace immediately goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm about to ruin everything you like about this.
Well, he got most of it, really. He's looking at the glass half empty.
And then the episode ends with Gonzo distraught because Liberace did not use any of his chickens. But never fear, Liberace is going to take the chickens on the road and use them in his Vegas show.
Yeah.
Where they wear bunny ears that have rhinestones on them.
I would have rather seen tap dancing chickens, honestly, than the royal ballet dancers.
Yeah. I also just like the way Liberace delivers the line about like, they do it with bunny ears on. I'm just like, ugh. Like, I understand why they didn't give this man a lot of lines in this because he is not the best at reading jokes. But
I think my big problem with this episode, what you're saying now is changing my mind about it, was that they didn't use him with the Muppets. Like, he didn't get to be part of the show, really. He was very cordoned off into his own thing. But yeah, you're probably right that maybe his consistently awful line delivery would have been too distracting the whole time. But it would have been fun to have almost more of like a Rudolph Nureyev type of thing where they just deck the whole set out in rhinestones and like all the Muppets are glittery the whole time.
Right, if he had a super fan amongst the Muppet cast.
Yeah.
If like Scooter or Gonzo or Piggy or something like that was really into Liberace and wanted to show up in Sparkles, I feel like that's something that did work in those episodes that just is not present here.
Or like a good duet with a Muppet, that would have been fun.
Well, that's the thing too, is like I, again, knowing nothing about Liberace, I don't know what his songs are. Like if he has like a hit single that he could sing here.
I think he mostly just plays piano, doesn't he? Does he sing?
I have no idea. He sings the 5'2" Eyes of Blue.
Yeah, but that's not his song.
Now, I don't want to do a book report like you were going to do, but I do want to learn more about Liberace now.
Well, 5'2" Eyes of Blue was written in 1925, so...
He was alive?
I don't think that's... Yeah, but he was like...
7, I think?
He's
a very prolific child.
He was, yeah. He was a prodigy. In his little tiny rhinestone tuxedo running around. His little Schroeder piano. That would be really cute, actually. Liberace baby. But yeah, overall, having him do the concert, I think, was a big mistake.
Well, and again, I don't know if it was for, the audience who's watching this at the time, because
that's true.
Much like the Elton John episode where we talked about how there's so much just Elton John performing in that episode and it's not much else. I think this kind of falls into that same camp where maybe that's what people really wanted, was they just wanted to see Liberace performing on their TV. Last thought on Liberace. Does he remind you of Grandpa Munster at all?
Yeah, a lot, now that you mention it.
The times he was talking just to me, I just thought of Grandpa Munster the whole time.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, Grandpa Munster was still around playing Grandpa Munster at this time. He would have been a great guest on the Muppet Show.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
He went on to be like a late night horror host as Grandpa Munster.
Oh,
So he was still kind of
that
a
just
thing.
makes me want Svengoolie with the Muppets.
Oh man, that would be fun. A Muppet, like, remember when TMC used to do, or TCM, Turner Classic Movies, used to do like Rob Zombie would come on and like host like a night of horror movies and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or like they'd have a celebrity. I wish, first of all, cable TV used to be so fucking cool. And I used to watch it all the time and there was so much fun stuff on it. But like a Muppet hosted, like the Uncle Deadly thing. Like if it was like Uncle Deadly doing host segments as a horror host and being like, here's the brain that wouldn't die. And then like he'd pop up every now and then and be like, I'm like the Crypt Keeper, but for kids and less disgusting. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I want Uncle Deadly and Svengoolie to hang out.
Or like there was some service where there were shows you could only watch after a certain time of night. Like a streaming service. Does that sound familiar to you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there was something where it's like after midnight or like after 10, there's like this creepy show you can watch. And I can't remember what it was. But if Disney Plus had like after 9:30, you can watch Uncle Deadly's spooky nighttime show where he hosts Under Wraps, you know, the Disney original movie Under Wraps or something.
That's the After Dark special?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like actually like creepy scary movies of like Uncle Deadly presents The Shining.
It's Disney Plus. Come on.
They own the Fox library though. They can add
Do they
anything on
own The
there.
Shining?
No, that's not Fox. That's Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
But they got a lot of Fox movies. There's spooky Fox movies.
Alien. They could put
Yeah.
Alien on there.
Uncle Deadly presents Alien. The last episode that we watched this week was the Loretta Lynn episode of The Muppet Show. My star rating, 4 stars, Sam.
My star rating 5 stars. This is my new favorite episode of The Muppet Show.
Oh, when you were hinting earlier, I thought maybe you gave this one like a 2 or a 3 and you hated
Hell
it.
no, this one was great.
All right, good. Glad we're on the same page again.
Why'd you give it only 4?
I don't know. There's something about it, and I think it's the Loretta Lynn stuff because she doesn't get a lot to do, and the stuff she does, I'm like, that was fine. I feel like the episode itself is nearly perfect, and then the parts with her could be a little better.
Okay, I thought she was great.
But this episode, it's just got everything I like. It's got the show being broken. It's got some Muppets bonding with friendship. It's got some questions being answered that we've wondered about the Muppets.
Oh, like what?
Like possibly where their theater is, or at least the area.
I did this on... Did you do a map? Did you bring up a map too?
Oh, I pulled up the Amtrak website to see if I was going to take a train.
Altoona was?
Yeah, to see if I could take a train from somewhere that would go through Altoona to Pittsburgh. Where would I be coming from? We'll get to that when we're talking about that part of the episode.
Okay,
but this episode starts off. I love it immediately because the show is broken. They have to fumigate the theater, and so they're performing this entire episode at a railroad station. And that includes a new version of the opening theme song. It includes...
it's so good. I watched it so many times.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Fozzie has drawn all of the props and the backgrounds and stuff, so it's just a really janky-looking Muppet Show logo with like Kermit's head popping through, and then they like try to pull it, and they like pull his little head.
And we get some changed-up lyrics in the theme song. The ladies' chorus line that comes out says, "It's time to meet the Muppets at the railroad track tonight," which is like, fine. But then the guys' chorus line comes out and it's completely different. It says, "It's time to make up scenery. Let's hope we do it right. It's time to get things started." And then on the most sensational, inspirational, this week's sort of railroad stational.
Yeah, I cried. It was so funny when he said that.
It's a very Animaniacs type opening number.
Yeah, it really is.
There's like little jokes throughout it. Like Rolf says that like the conductor of the orchestra is the conductor, like a train conductor. And then we also get Gonzo coming out to play his horn, and he's like, "Hey everyone, watch this," and he blows it, and it's a train whistle.
Yeah, he's like, "It's gonna be great, Kermit," which is a great like hinting that he is the one who's behind all of this, which is such a perfect thing for Gonzo to be behind as well.
It's probably where he lives, is like the railroad station.
Yeah,
it's like, I got a great place we can do the show. Like you said earlier, Loretta Lynn has no problem performing because country stars will
I like that.
do wherever. And she opens the show singing a song backed by, unsurprisingly, Lubbock Lou and his Jug Huggers. She sings a song called "You're Looking at Country," which is, I mean, I'm country, damn it, is kind of the vibe of this song.
Yeah. Was this, you liked old country music when you were, like, you like it, right?
Right,
Did
yeah.
you
it's-
listen to Loretta Lynn when you were a kid?
I think more in passing because my mom did, and so
Right.
Loretta Lynn is somebody I am familiar with, but not like a super fan of. And whenever she puts out a new album, like working with Jack White or something, I will listen to it at least once.
Right.
So I enjoy Loretta Lynn, but don't have a lot of knowledge of her
There's
catalog
not
or
video
anything.
of you singing one of her songs like there was Old Blue Country Mountain or whatever that was.
Rocky Top.
Yeah.
No, there's as far as I know, I am not seeing Coal Miner's Daughter in any of our home movies.
Okay.
But we find out that Statler and Waldorf came along for the ride.
Yeah.
They're also here.
They hate the show so much that they can't stop going, even if it's a huge inconvenience to them and in a completely different place.
And then Kermit is using the sort of luggage storage room. I guess this is maybe Lost and Found. I don't really know why they just have a room full of luggage at the train station.
I guess you can check it in while you're hanging out or something. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know how trains work, really.
Yeah, I haven't ridden a lot of trains in my life. But this is where he's turned this room into his office, so he's hanging out back here. This is where we find out the answer to another question. I think we pondered
I
once
know.
of what is
I
Kermit
wrote it down
drinking.
and underlined it.
Turns out he's drinking coffee, Sam.
You said tea. You were wrong.
He's got a
It's
fancy
coffee.
cup.
I knew it. Kermit's not a tea guy, though. Kermit needs coffee.
He is. He's a tea
Kermit
mascot.
is actually
Lipton.
famously drinking tea.
Yeah.
In a meme, one of the most well-known memes of all time, I suppose.
Yeah.
But to me, tea is too calm for Kermit.
Oh yeah, he's drinking black tea if he's drinking tea. He's got to
Yeah.
get that Lipton right inside of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice to have some verification that is his coffee cup. That is,
Yeah.
he refers to that as his coffee cup. That
This is a
maybe
really important
breaks.
episode of The Muppet Show. It does break, but I guess he's probably got extras.
Well, yeah, because we see it again later when he's riding on the train. So
He's got extras he just carries around with him everywhere, yeah.
yeah.
I think you probably get a lot of broken coffee mugs in the Muppet Theater.
He's just got a coffee mug guy that he calls up. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, happened again.
Gotta need another pallet of these coffee mugs.
That's where all the money's going. All the money he's not paying to anyone is going towards customized coffee cups.
Yeah.
And this is the first glimpse we get. We find out what Baskerville's been up to.
Yeah.
Apparently, he quit the Muppet Show and works at this train station now.
And he is treating them all like he doesn't know them. So I don't know what happened to him. He's sick.
Yeah, it is like Baskerville is a different character in this, but he doesn't look any different than Baskerville other than he has a railroad worker hat.
Bothered me because there is another dog puppet that would have been much more suitable to be the train working
That very generic.
in the same scene. Yeah, he just pops out later and it's like, I'm a dog too. Just put a hat on him and make him be the guy.
But no, we have Baskerville here with maybe a case of amnesia. And also everyone else has amnesia and doesn't remember him either. Ralph's not like, my old buddy. We've been together
maybe
for
they all have
years.
to, it's like 51st dates where you can't give him too much information. You'll freak him out.
I wouldn't mind something. This will never happen. I would not mind some sort of series of things that's Ralph and Baskerville, like talking about the good old days, and like on a road trip or something, or like
I was
even
gonna say, like an old style like road trip movie.
Here's my pitch for the next Muppet series, Sam.
Okay.
I'm gonna start off in something that's not good, but it's gonna be inspired by the reboot season of Arrested Development,
Okay.
which was not good.
Oh right.
But the reason it wasn't good is something I think we can steal and use for the Muppet Show. Is that each episode is gonna be about like a series of characters who are doing their own thing, and it's all leading up to them reuniting for something.
Oh.
And so we have everyone sort of like an extended version of like the Muppet Show or the 2011 Muppets movie, where there's a big Muppets reunion happening in Hollywood and they all need to get there, or there's this, a show that they can put on for a charity event or something that they can all show up to. But we get to see what everyone's been up to. We get to see old friends hanging out. We can have Ralph and Baskerville needing to drive from like Maine or wherever they live now across the
Why do they live
country.
in Maine?
I don't know. I feel like they're old and retired, so they just like live on the coast.
Okay. I thought maybe they worked on a fishing boat now.
But I would like to see an entire episode like devoted to one sort of storyline about a few Muppets and what they're doing, so that like these characters that don't normally get time to shine, because it's like, okay, yeah, Ralph's not going to have a lot to do if Gonzo's blowing himself out of a cannon. So getting more time to devote to these side characters and see what they're up to.
Matt, we should write this. This is a good idea.
It could also work as YouTube videos, just as like, you don't need to have a ton of context. If it's just like Rolf and Baskerville's road trip, that's all you need for a YouTube video. Just be an 8-minute short of Rolf and Baskerville driving somewhere.
Okay, this is our new project. It's January 2nd, 2022. By the end of the year, we're going to have sold the script to Disney.
That's quite the thing you're putting out there in the universe right now.
I'm drawing the line in the sand, Matt. This is going to happen.
We'll have Frank Oz on the podcast, and we'll sell a project to Disney.
Well, he'll help us.
Yeah, they famously have a great relationship. Next up in the episode we're talking about, Kermit and Gonzo decide to use a train for Kermit's new office, because, of course, this was Gonzo's idea. And he says this train is out of commission. It's not going anywhere. Don't worry, Kermit. But, of course, he's wrong about that, and the train immediately starts to take off.
Yeah.
And it's headed towards Pittsburgh, which is what gives us our first geographical clue of where the Muppets might currently be in here.
It's not the most useful clue, I would say. But you have a whole bunch of evidence. Because Pittsburgh is right in the middle of every major city in America, basically, except L.A.
Right. The thing that helps this out a little bit is as they're going down the track, Gonzo yells that they have to make a stop in Altoona.
Yeah.
And Altoona is to the east of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So theoretically,
That's true.
they're coming from the east towards Pittsburgh on this train.
Right.
So most likely, they're coming from Philadelphia. Because if you were going to take a train from New York to Pittsburgh, you would have to go through Philadelphia and then Altoona to Pittsburgh. And so I feel like it would be weird for him to just mention Altoona if they were going through Philadelphia. And I feel like Philadelphia would also be weird to not mention if you had to go through it or were headed there from New York City. So to me...
Also, Altoona is just a funny word.
Absolutely. It's like a Bugs Bunny thing again, where it's like Lake Cucamonga. And so I feel like they're leaving Philadelphia right now.
I do think the background of this train station with the windmill and stuff like that, I could see that being a out in the country Philadelphia kind of background more than I could see it being anywhere near New York. They would just go to Grand Central Station or something in New York, right? Or wherever you get on the train.
Yeah, this feels like outside of Philadelphia somewhere.
Yeah.
Which it was never one of our theories, obviously, that they would be in Philadelphia.
I don't think the Muppets could hack it in Philadelphia. I think they get their little asses kicked.
But it's the only sort of hint we've had so far about where the Muppets might currently be located. Again, this is not where the theater is because they're clearly not at the theater, but chances are they wouldn't travel so far from the theater to come to this random railroad station. So, I mean, again, if they are in New York City for the theater, Philadelphia is only like an hour and a half away. I don't know. But this is the best geographical clue we've had so far, that they are in the New England sort of area, like East Coast, New England area.
It's certainly confirmation that they're not in the Twin Cities, unfortunately.
And they're probably not in London.
That they're not in London, more importantly to me, that they're not in London, yeah.
Then the show starts to devolve because Kermit has left and no one knows what to do, and it's already chaotic version of the show. And so Scooter and Fozzie are sort of in charge, trying to keep things on the tracks. That was unintentional. I apologize. But Fozzie doesn't have a comedy act ready to go. But Scooter tells him to tell a joke. He goes to tell a joke, and the train interrupts him. So we never get to hear
I like that Scooter is still kind of a Fozzie Bear fan. I feel like that's been set up a couple other times.
Yeah, he finds him really, really funny.
He genuinely thinks he's funny. Yeah.
But we unfortunately don't get to hear the joke about the electrician and the polar bear. No. So we can't judge for ourselves if it's actually that funny.
He's still trash to us.
We then have an At the Dance sketch where two characters, voiced by Frank Oz and Steve Whitmire, are just sort of walking through, confused by what is happening on their train station.
Yeah. Old traditional like railway riders.
Yeah, I think they sum it up pretty well when they say, "Hey, these folks are dancing and telling jokes," and the other guy says, "Well, they're dancing."
Yeah, this was fun. This was a fun mix-up of At the Dance, unlike the Swedish Chef Veterinarian Hospital, which felt a little bit like, what's the point of this? This one was a good subversion of it.
Well, I like other characters being confronted with the Muppets and just sort of being like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, that was a fun thing I thought in the James Coco episode where he's like, what's next? And then Kermit's like, Veterinarian's Hospital. It's where they get on stage and they pretend to be vets and they sort of tell jokes, and it's going to be terrible. I liked him trying to like justify the horrible things that they do on the show all the time.
It's like the holidays just passed. It's like when you see family at the holidays and they're like, oh, so what's your podcast about? And you're like, oh, well, me and my friend wake up every Sunday morning and we talk about Muppets for like 2 hours. And they're like, oh, well, what? Like, do you make money with that? It's like, no, we just do it for fun. And they're like, okay. Like, and that's sort of what this feels like, where it's just like, explain what you do to me and make it make sense. And it's like, I don't know, it's a dog pretending to be a doctor making puns. That's all I got. But I do like Frank Oz's character, who he's playing, Fred here, just sounds exactly like his Ma Otter voice from the outtakes of Emmett Otter's Jugman Christmas.
Yeah, it does.
And then we get tucked away in a UK spot, which is a travesty.
A huge shame, yeah.
We get Gonzo and Kermit riding a little rail car, the little like hand car pump things that you see in cartoons that I have no idea how they actually work.
Looney Tunes all the time,
Yeah, they're in Blazing Saddles, they're in Looney Tunes. I don't know what they actually do or how they actually work. How do you choose which direction that's going, Sam?
I think there's a switch on it. I think there's like a handle you go kunk. It's not represented on this particular model, but I think there is a I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
It's just two people pumping away, and it's like, how does that cart know which direction they want to go in? But this cart illusion is fantastic. Like, unfortunately, there's no behind the scenes photos of this on Muppet Wiki, but it's very convincingly done. Of like, there's the spinning wheels, the track is going by in the foreground.
It's green screened, right? Though
I mean, part of it has to be like the blue screen, sort of the setup that when Bob Hope was writing Paul Revere, where I think part of it is like stuck to a platform that, in this case, Dave Goelz and Jim Henson are sort of behind performing, and I think the wheels and the track are probably in front of that. Spinning on something, but then I would love to see some behind the scenes photos of this because I don't understand all the pieces and how they work together. But clearly, Dave Goelz and Jim Henson have their hands up through the bottom of the cart, through the little crates that they're sitting on, and you can't really see where they would be because they're on blue screen.
This is the most firmly defined that we've seen, like Kermit and Gonzo's relationship, and Gonzo feels so much like Gonzo because he's making little cracks about like how much fun he's having on this completely unpleasant thing that they're doing.
It makes a lot of sense to me that they're like just about to film the Muppet movie after they've filmed these episodes, because the characters are becoming much more like we know and love them. And
this feels like it could be a scene out of the Muppet movie where like Kermit's down in the dumps, but his friend sings him a little song, and then he's like, all right, as long as I have my friends, I guess things aren't that bad. Then they get hit by a train, though.
They do end up getting hit by a train. And we see possibly like pieces of Kermit's flesh missing at the end of the episode.
I think he's just scuffed up, but yeah. Frogs don't have notoriously strong skin, I don't think so. I like that Muppet Wiki says Baskerville, who has somehow acquired a job at the station.
Yeah, they're also confused.
What do you mean somehow? He applied to it.
I guess that's true.
They all have day jobs. I said this before. They all got to have day jobs. Fozzie's a barista, and Baskerville is a porter at the train station.
The weird thing is that Baskerville, like, this isn't the last time we'll see Baskerville. He'll show up in more episodes of The Muppet Show.
Yeah,
so
they kind of blew it out their ass on this one.
It's just strange that inside the canon of this episode, he is not part of the Muppet crew.
No, I feel like somebody just really liked the Baskerville puppet. Who's voicing him in this one?
Jerry Nelson.
Yeah, Jerry Nelson's probably just like, that's a cute as hell puppet. I want to be him.
Throughout this episode, Muppet Newsman has been working out of the newspaper station.
Yeah, and then when people come up and ask him to buy papers and stuff, he's like, no, go away.
Which is interesting because there's like real magazines behind him.
Yeah, there's Nixon up there behind him.
Yeah, you just see Richard Nixon's face up behind the Muppet Newsman, and so it's weird to like bring the real world into the Muppet Show.
The next thing that happens was also something that I went back and watched like 3 or 4 times. The rhyming song.
Yes. A troupe of Muppets, including Scooter, Annie Sue, Lynn Cogthrob, and Fozzie, decide that they're going to put on the rhyming song.
They're truly desperate. Have no idea what to do anymore.
And, yeah, it just doesn't rhyme at all. They could have, like, literally sung any song in the entire world, and it would have rhymed more than this song.
Yeah. But it was written by Frank Oz, which it says is like one of his 2 songs he's ever written. But it feels like also like Animaniacs. It has an Animaniacs feel to it.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like something Wacko would like bring to the table. He's like,
yeah,
I've got the rhyming song, and they're like, all right, let's see it. And he starts singing it. It's like, nah, come on, Wacko. You asshole.
Wacko, you idiot. Or like something Dr. Demento would play for a few weeks on his.
Oh yeah, this has got a
show
fish
or
heads
something
quality
like
to it.
Totally, yeah.
But no, I love this is again like showing Muppets bonding and trying to come together and still failing. So good.
Yeah.
And like realizing they're failing as they're failing. Like it's not even
so
like
mad. Yeah.
It's not even like they finish it and go like, yeah, that was all right. And somebody's like, no,
Yeah.
that was terrible. Mid-song, they're like, we are messing this up so bad. And then we get the closing number, which is the debut of the Muppet Babies.
No, not the ones you're thinking though.
Nope. It's just the babies. The
Nightmare Babies.
creepy babies who we will see many, many times.
Too many. They're in freaking Great Muppet Christmas Carol. They're all over the damn place.
Later on, they will have a representative, Bobby Benson, who is sort of their manager, who will be shopping them around as an act. But they even
I
show up
think
in...
that's quite funny.
Oh, absolutely. But they show up in Muppets Now. Like in an episode with Seth Rogen, they interact with Seth Rogen. And I'm just like,
Horrible.
these creepy babies don't need to be around as much as they are.
No.
But yeah, Loretta Lynn is singing a song called One's on the Way, basically about how she's a mom who has way too much shit to do and is also pregnant. She's hoping not with twins this time.
Yeah. And the creepiness works in their favor because they are kind of, in the song, existential nightmares to this woman's happiness. But they're creepy.
Oh yeah, I don't love them, and the fact that we have to see them a lot is a little upsetting. But I also it feels a lot to me like Jim and the guys thought this was hilarious that they made these really creepy screaming baby puppets that they could just like go like wah, wah.
Yeah,
like that just
it does
feels
seem like
a fun
something that's
gag.
more fun. Yeah, more fun to do than it is to watch. But I was very proud of Fozzie for his backgrounds.
Yeah, he did a
set
great
decoration
job.
on this one. And he
He's got
did
a
really
secret
good job.
artistic talent. And then we get, just to seal this fantastic episode, we get a rough and tumble version of the closing theme song, which is played terribly.
When they do this, yeah.
I also love that they couldn't bring the whole band, so like Camilla is like in the band playing a trumpet or something, and so
trumpet,
so they just have a random assortment of people there as part of the orchestra for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, a fantastic episode of the Muppet Show.
Oh, I loved it so much.
I don't know what it says about us that we like when the show breaks. Some of our favorite episodes of the Muppet Show are like the least Muppet Show episodes of the Muppet Show. But I think the moment that pops up with that alternate theme song and Fozzie's drawings of the Muppet Show logo, I was like, I am all in on this.
Yeah. I don't know either. I think maybe it's like we're both producers, you know? So maybe it is kind of like it's like satisfying to see them like problem solve in the moment and be like, oh, it's got to do the best we can. Because that really is what it is like most of the time. It's like everyone's coming to you with various problems and then you have to just be like, make the compromise version of the thing you're trying to make. But that's also what like brings out everybody's like personality the most.
And the Muppets get to do it in sort of everything still kind of works out in the end, no matter what.
Yeah, because it's
like,
fake chaos for them.
Right. Like if you had to make an episode of SciShow Tangents at a railroad station, that's not going to go super smoothly.
It might be kind of fun.
If you had to do it on the tracks.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to our Muppet of the Week. This week's Muppet of the Week is another brief one, like we talked about Beauregard last week. Not a lot to say about him. This week's probably even briefer, but I felt like it was worth noting, is Fletcher Bird.
This isn't going to be nothing.
Yeah, Fletcher Bird, I think visually very interesting. Personality-wise, not much there. But Fletcher Bird is a full-bodied Muppet, multicolored, mostly green and blue with some like pink and orange feathers around the trim. If you see Fletcher Bird, it feels like a Muppet that would have had a bigger impact across projects because I feel like he just looks like he should be important.
He looks like somebody that they would have made for an ad campaign like 30 years ago.
He's a little bit like the RC Cola bird mixed with like the LaChoy Dragon and all those other ones. Like he seems like he could be in some sort of advertisement. But no.
I love his big socks too.
He's got big old weird striped socks. He's got a giant like bulbous beak thing happening. It's like not like a big bird beak. And yeah, he's a very good design. So much so that they even used him in merch at one point. They had these little like those like things where you rub them on stuff and it transfers.
Toothbrush?
No. Sorry, my hand motion that I'm showing you does look like a toothbrush. Like you rub a picture onto something and it like transfers it onto a notebook or a piece of paper or something like that.
Yeah,
like little rub-on transfers. They put out a set of those from the Muppet Show, and he was one of the characters that was included in that.
Weird.
Even weirder, in one of those sets, there's a wolf who never appears in the Muppet Show.
What the fuck?
I don't know, but I want, in sort of the way that Star Wars brings in like weird things that aren't really canon from like action figures and stuff and makes it canon in the new shows. I want the Muppet Show to like make that wolf canon at some point, so people can be like, "Oh, it's the rub-on wolf."
We can't call him that. That's
probably not. We'll name him like Rubby or something. That's also bad.
Rubby,
Never mind.
Rubby the rub-off wolf. Not good, Matt. Not
hey,
good.
hey, I'm Rubby. But getting back to Fletcher Bird, he is named after and performed by Graham Fletcher.
Oh, I assumed it was because of bow and arrows.
Nope.
'Cause that's okay.
He was named after Graham Fletcher, who was a dancer at the Royal Ballet, and we previously discussed him when he performed the ballet Pig in the Rudolph and the Nureyev episode.
Oh, they love this guy.
Yeah, he'll also play a giant spider later this season.
No.
Sorry about that, Sam. There will be a giant spider at some point in an episode.
Blech. Okay.
And as I mentioned earlier, in this batch of episodes, in the Liberace episode, he is voiced very briefly by Steve Whitmire. All he gets to say is, excuse me, I'm looking for... And that's it. That's every piece of dialogue that Fletcher Bird has ever spoken.
Will ever speak? Okay.
Yeah. But he will appear again once more in the Leo Sayer episode in this season, and then twice in season 4, and then a couple of TV specials, and like everybody else, at the end of the Muppet movie.
He's also in the beginning of the Muppet movie, sitting in the theater watching it with them.
Oh, I didn't even notice
That's
that.
why he looks so familiar to me.
I was going to say, yeah, he seems like somebody I have seen a bunch of times and just could not place.
Yeah.
But that's it. I figured he was a pretty prominent fixture of this batch of episodes, and I knew if we didn't talk about him now, we probably would never talk about him. So I wanted to bring up Fletcher Bird, one, because he is one of the first vocal debuts of Steve Whitmire, but also because this is his on-screen debut as well. But yeah, if you were forced to rate Fletcher Bird...
Oh, yeah, I forgot I had to do this.
Yeah, what are you going to rate that bird that we've seen once?
Much like some of the episodes this week, 2.5. 3. He's cool looking. I like him. It is easy to imagine that he could have been, like, if he had been invented a decade earlier, he would have been on all those late night shows and stuff. But I guess Big Bird was, like, blowing up that spot. You can't have two Big Birds.
Well, and the things we will see Fletcher Bird on from here on out are sort of the variety show type of thing. They do another Royal Variety performance, I believe, at some point, and he shows up on stage performing with Right Said Fred. Yeah,
cool.
It's weird. It's out there. We can watch it. But he shows up on sort of things like that. There's also a show called, I think, like Hello Here in Berlin or something like that. It's got a weird title where the Harlem Globetrotters show up with the Muppets. And he's there for that as well. And I think he's playing against the Harlem Globetrotters, maybe.
He's in the Washington Generals. That
makes
sense.
But yeah, so Fletcher Bird does show up whenever they need another like interesting full-bodied Muppet to walk around. But yeah, if I had to rate him, let's see. Again, not that impressive. He's a cool-looking puppet, but I don't love him. He doesn't really do that many interesting things. Let's give him a solid... I don't know, 38.
That might be... Is that your lowest ever?
No, I've rated like 27, I think, for some people I hated, like Marvin Suggs or somebody. I don't know. I gave somebody a pretty low rating.
Not a great showing for the bird whose name I forgot already.
Fletcher Bird.
Yeah.
So, Sam, it's been a while since we've chatted, a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly you've probably had some time to enjoy some non-Muppet media. What'd you watch since the last time we talked?
Well, I've been sick, so I watched a lot of crap. Still watching Vampire Diaries, which is what I mostly watched. But I went to see Spider-Man before I got sick.
Oh.
Did you see it yet?
Nope.
I won't say too much. I liked
Thank
it
you.
a lot. I thought it was good. I feel like I also watched Hawkeye, and I didn't really like it that much. Did you finish it?
Yeah, I liked the middle of Hawkeye a lot, and then when it ended, I was like, oh, that's it? Okay.
Yeah. There's like one loose end in Hawkeye. Like, there's one character that shows up that if he never shows up again, I will be very disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that was such a huge waste. Why did you even do that?
I believe there are comic book reasons that he will show up again.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But Spider-Man was good. I feel like, and I never wanted to be this person, but sometimes I'm just a little bit like, maybe I'm a little bit sick of this Marvel stuff. But I am very excited for Doctor Strange too. But Spider-Man was really good. I just haven't found myself thinking about it very much since I saw it. And it similarly has some things where it's like, if this pans out one way, that'll be great. If this pans out the other way, that'll be extremely disappointing. And I feel like I'm in that place with a lot of Marvel stuff where I'm just not really sure. I think I was so burned by the Quicksilver fake out in WandaVision that I don't trust them anymore. And
There's been a lot of things with the TV shows that even though I've really enjoyed most of the TV shows, they set up so many things that have no payoff or are talking about this multiverse stuff. And it's like, okay, so did Loki cause it? Did Spider-Man cause it? Who's causing the multiverse?
The TV show thing is like, because of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where it's like, this didn't ever tie into anything. It's just like, I know that they're going to make these movies so that people didn't have to watch these TV shows. So there's kind of not really a point to this because they'll just re-explain it in a movie in a cooler way, probably.
Right, like Multiverse of Madness.
I don't actually know that that's true.
Is going to have to deal with some of WandaVision stuff.
Yeah, and Loki stuff, I'd assume.
I mean, presumably.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yes, I do want to see Spider-Man No Way Home. I just haven't. We haven't finished our Spider-Man rewatch that we're working through. We watched Spider-Man 3 the other day. It's still bad. I just don't know how that movie got made. The second half of that movie is so wild that I don't understand how everyone was like, yes, release this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's worth seeing because it is very fun.
I think once we've watched The Amazing Spider-Mans, we'll be at a point in time where most people who wanted to see Spider-Man have seen it, and so maybe we'll be able to find a less full theater, and we'll maybe feel a little bit more comfortable going to see it.
I saw it at like 2:30 in the afternoon on a Monday or something.
That's the right call, yeah.
It was packed, so...
Oh, God, never mind.
Yeah.
I guess everybody else also has the holiday time off. Not everyone, but a lot of people do.
Yeah. How about you? What did you watch?
I watched two things, mostly. I watched The Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah, I watched that too.
And I also watched The Matrix Resurrections.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
If you want to watch some poorly directed action scenes, watch those two things.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that Matrix has disappointing action scenes.
I don't know what happened, because it feels like whatever, like, dynamic filmmaking was there in almost every other Wachowski movie that they have made. Like, Lana was just like, I forgot how to do that.
I feel like I read that somewhere that the other Wachowski is the one who's better at that.
Lily. Yeah, I don't know, but something is missing in this, and they both have similar issues where there's like parkour, jumping around rooftop kind of scenes that are just filmed in the most boring way you could possibly film something that's actually kind of exciting. And I was watching Book of Boba Fett, and I liked it just fine as an episode of TV, but the action scenes were so slowly
Why didn't
paced.
he use his jetpack at the end when he's surrounded by the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys? Huh?
There's a lot of unanswered questions about why things were handled the way they were handled in that episode of TV.
I did actually really like it.
I like it as far as, like, I like Star Wars. So you give me new Star Wars, I'm probably going to like it. Yeah. But the fight scene for me was a little slow and weird. But then that parkour running around the rooftops with Fennec Shand scene went on for so long.
Oh, I thought that was cool.
Oh God,
because I was like,
it.
I think it's cool that the mayor of Mos Espa or whatever has ninjas. That's fun.
I thought it was. I like the concept, the idea of that doesn't bother me. The way it was shot and paced and directed when they're running around on the rooftops makes parkour seem really boring.
Well, that's how I felt about who directed this? Robert Rodriguez.
Right.
That's how I felt about his episode of Mandalorian was the worst directed episode, I thought.
I would agree.
But I like that he has Gamorrean guard friends. I don't know.
I like everything about the show other than how some of it is being directed and shot.
Yeah. And I think he's going to deal with, like, one thing that's always bothered me about Star Wars is that there's so much slavery and stuff, but the good guys are never like, we should probably do something about that. But I feel like he's going to be like that. He's going to be more like, egalitarian society for Tatooine, please.
Well, and some of that is a little bit dealt with in some of the books and things where they talk about handling some of that afterwards. Like Padme does some work on that in the books. But I also did enjoy a very small nerdy thing in this episode that was a nice switch, is that in all of Star Wars, in the animated series especially, the Twi'lek women are basically treated like sex objects only. Like anytime a Twi'lek woman shows up, she's immediately assumed to be sexualized in some way, either as like a slave to Jabba or as like a sex worker on Coruscant or something. Like immediately the people are hitting on her and flirting with her. In this, they don't necessarily go against that, but they do sexualize a male Twi'lek for like the first time ever.
They're all sexy.
Yes. So
except for the ones that are disgusting.
Like Bib Fortuna.
Yeah.
But yes, they have sexualized a male Twi'lek for like the first time ever. So there's at least, I guess, progress. So before we go, we need to let you know what we'll be watching next week. It's going to be 3 more episodes of Season 3 of The Muppet Show, which includes the episodes featuring Alice Cooper, Cheryl Ladd, and Pearl Bailey. And we'll also be watching some TV appearances, one with Rolf on Cleo Lane's mini-series that she does at this time, and a couple clips of Jim Henson and Frank Oz appearing on a BBC One talk show called Parkinson. We don't have the full appearance to watch, but we have a couple clips that make up some of it where they're hanging out and talking about The Muppet Show. And that all happened in November of 1978.
I've been missing hearing them talk about stuff.
Yeah. Well, never fear. We have another clip that we'll be watching before next week as well. That's actually from 1976, but I just found it. So there's a clip of Frank Oz on the CBC in 1976, and he's got Cookie Monster there with him on his lap, making everybody laugh. So that'll be a fun watch as well. But if you want to, watch that stuff, The Muppet Show, obviously on Disney Plus, and the other things we will be tweeting out so that you can watch those along with us. We want to thank our friend Tuna for creating the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. As I just mentioned, you can follow this podcast on Twitter @CommitmentPod, and you can email us at mail@commitment.com if you have any Muppet things you'd like to share with us. Specifically, if you have any Sesame Street memories you'd like to share with us, because we are working on our big Sesame Street first 10 years episode here coming out in a couple months, a month, whenever. Time is weird. But yeah, if you have any Sesame Street memories or specific Sesame Street things from the early years that you'd like us to talk about, you can email us there. And you can also follow me on the internet at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.